Operation Confidence proudly presents America's Invisible Heroes radio talk show. Tune in weekly on Sundays from 2 to 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time with your hosts, Consuelo Mackey, co-host U.S. Air Force veteran Matt Davidson, announcers Taylor Marcella and Brooke Gadesi, U.S. Army veteran and entertainment host Charles Whitehead, U.S. Army Special Forces veteran and I Once Was Whole segment host Richard Cook, U.S. Army veteran and Lifeline for Women's Veterans segment host Martha Elena Varela, National Faith Program Director and Veterans in Recovery segment host Anthony Akimpora, and U.S. Air Force veteran and Incarceration to Success segment host Kevin Lewandowski. For more information or to be a guest on our show, email info@operationconfidence.org.
Operation Confidence is a grassroots nonprofit. The organization's mission is to provide stable housing for veterans who have experienced homelessness, as well as providing a wide range of supportive services. To help accomplish our goal, a successful landowner has donated land for the project, a world-renowned architect has offered to design the houses, and construction classes from the local community colleges will take part in building the houses. Your support and donations are needed. To get involved, please visit our website at www.operationconfidence.org or email info@operationconfidence.com.
Okay. Thank you. And welcome to America's Invisible Heroes. Okay, did everybody ready to go? Here we go. All right. I want to thank everyone for tuning into American Invisible Heroes, a show dedicated to our veterans and their families. Yes, I'm your host, Consuelo Mackey, Executive Director of a grassroots nonprofit organization called Operation Confidence. For those who are new to the show, Operation Confidence was established to create a platform for our veterans to provide their resources, experiences, heartfelt stories, challenges, and accomplishments. And oh, by the way, I'm not a veteran, but my heart goes out to those who are disabled and maybe experience homelessness. Now, allow me to introduce our co-host for today. We have Jimmy McGee. He's a board member, actually our board president, a pharmacist. He has a segment, he's our segment host, and it comes on, I guess, once every 3 to 4 months because he's extremely busy. It calls Comfort and Care for Veterans. That's his segment. And then we have U.S. Army Reserve veteran Charles Whitehead. He's a board member and a co-host. We have U.S. veteran Kevin Lewandowski. He's a board member, and he has a segment, bi-monthly segment called From Incarceration to Success. We have U.S. Army veteran Martha Varela. She's on our advisory board, and she has a weekly segment called Lifeline to Women Veterans. And then we have Patrice Springer. She has a bi-monthly segment, and it's called Your Image 2020, fabulous program. And then we have Ann Montague. She also has a bi-monthly segment, and hers is called the Rosies Movement, and we just love the Rosies. So I'm going to turn it over to Charles, and Charles, please introduce our two guests for today.
All right. Our two guests for today, Connie, we are honored to introduce Roxana Gomez, United States Air Force veteran who served for 5 years on active duty. And Sharon Panfile, is it Panfile?
That's correct.
Okay. A recruiter for Avatar LLC, and I will also be showing part 2 of the, and Ann, you have to tell me, is this Moselk? You're muted, but is that correct? Just Moselk Brown story.
Moselle Brown.
Okay. We'll see Moselle Brown's story. And she's an original Rosie. Okay, Connie, back at you.
Okay. Well, I want everyone to say hello so our viewers will be able to see who you are. Say hello. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. And now we're going to turn it over to Martha. Martha, she has something to share with us.
Sure, Connie. Since 9/11, over 700,000 women answered the call to serve their country. Women veterans should not feel like they are risking their physical and mental safety to receive mental care at a facility that are dedicated to serving them. Under Secretary Dennis McDonough's leadership, the VA must continue to aggressively crack down on VA sexual harassment and create an equal and safe environment for female veterans. As a female veteran myself, who does understand the sometimes not so good things that happen to women in terms of their any sort of sexual assaults. I do realize that I don't utilize the VA healthcare services, and I personally have never used them. Like many other women, unfortunately, they have all said that this is either something they do not know how to access or just haven't gotten up the courage to enter into the VA to take advantage of the services that are there. Not only do many women feel unsafe and threatened under the current system, but not very welcome. So it's no surprise that we hear this. From the moment women walk in through the door, they are unrecognized due to the VA's model to care for him and who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan. I would also add a layer that there's sometimes not the recognition for National Guard members, like myself, who, if we didn't go to combat, are not always considered veterans. So sometimes we hear some of that towards the guardsmen and certain reserve members, depending upon their length of service. As women service members and veterans, they often struggle with the imposter syndrome, not feeling fully a part of the veteran community. This inclusive model reaffirms this feeling. And I know that this also is something that I have personally dealt with, as I had been out of the service for 20 years and just continued living life. We start our families, we go to college, we live life. So we don't always stay connected to that veteran community or the larger veteran community. And unfortunately, sometimes this influences that. Now, this is why the IAVA is calling to change the model to be gender neutral, fully recognizing all veterans, all branches of service, all gender, all time periods of service, for all those who have served, to ensure that women feel that the VA is a place for them. Providing safe and accessible care is the first step to building trust with the female veteran community. And without safety measures in place, women will continue to be denied the care that they need. The VA needs to support female veterans and their families by expanding physical and mental health services, childcare benefits, and safe housing opportunities for women veterans and their families. The veteran community would not be the same without the contributions of our female service members. It's past time we honor their legacy in return. It is crucial we recognize the unique issues our female veterans and service members face, so the institutions they rely on can meet them with the support and respect that they have earned. Thank you, Connie, for that article. I think that was very informative. And as usual, it's something that I resonate or can identify with. And I think that that's why I have really worked so hard these past 3 years with women veterans and homeless veterans in particular, to find out what services are available. And there are so many services there inside the VA, in the community, for male veterans, female veterans, and families. We just don't realize where they are and what they are. So there's a disconnect between the VA and other community programs or agencies that are really trying to build and provide some of these much needed mental health and wellness services. But unfortunately, there's a disconnect. So I've been working really hard. Operation Confidence works really hard to find these veterans that are in need of housing, employment, services. And I think that we represent some of those very same agencies that are working to become a more inclusive and welcoming larger veteran community. So thank you, Connie, for that very great article.
My pleasure.
If I can add to that,
Sure.
Your Image 2020 is committed to helping female veterans, and we are learning the cause it provides image building. And even though we're trauma-based, because so many of the women veterans that come are referred to Your Image 2020 come in with a trauma, and we try and make the environment an environment where they can reconnect with their positive image and be able to go out into the community and rediscover themselves and feel good about themselves. So, anybody on this call or anybody that is listening that knows a female veteran that needs assistance in their image building, please refer them to your Image 2020.
We know what the fabulous work you're doing out there, girlfriend. It's absolutely amazing how you can take someone that had very low self-esteem, and by the time they go into your boutique, you turn them around into feeling confident and excited about who they are and ready to go out there and get that job. So we commend you. And you're going to tell us a little bit more, actually a lot more, about what the Image 2020 is doing. So I thank you for that. And I thank you for your friendship too, my love. We've been friends for quite a while. Keep up the good work. God bless you.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear some Marvin Gaye in the background and all. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, okay, now, you and the hubby's having a good time. Okay.
Yes, they are. That's cute.
That's why I have to keep muting muting myself.
Yeah, I heard it. I know. I was like, oh, okay.
You know what old Marv does. That's so funny. All right. Martha, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce our next guest, who's a longtime friend of ours as well.
Got it. I will be introducing Anne Montague. Anne Montague has a segment on the show to highlight the great work that the Rosies and the Rosies movement are doing. Anne is also an original Rosie's daughter. And today she's going to share part 2 of Moselle Brown's story. Moselle is also an original Rosie. And for those of us who have been fortunate enough to have heard some of the great stories, I know I'm excited to hear a little bit more in detail. So Anne, I will go ahead and let you take it from here.
Oh, thank you so much. The most I'm sorry. Was somebody saying? The most important thing is that Moselle passed 2.5 weeks ago. So she was 98, and she was very important in some of the first interviews that we did of Rosie's to let us feel that these women not only are an important part of history, that they're an important part of the future, because they did such excellent quality work. They came together and did it cooperatively. And in essence, the Rosie legacy is to pull together to do highest quality work, to do it in a spirit of cooperation, because if we don't, we are not using our freedom wisely. So she was a very special person. And what you're going to be seeing today is the last half of her story, which we showed the first half a couple of weeks ago, I think. One other thing about Moselle is that she actually had the manual for making what is called the Corsair airplane. And she still has that manual. I'm hoping that I get to see it again. I have a copy of it. But the thing is that she was so meticulous with her mathematics that she found some mistakes that the actual makers of the manual had made. And she basically helped to improve, if you will, the design of that very famous airplane.
That's great. Okay, you ready, y'all?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's see the second half.
You guys can see that, right?
Right.
Okay.
Look at that little sweet face.
I went in, I think it was in November, in the fall when I went, either in October or November when I went. And I was there about probably 2.5, 3 years. I made it home for Christmas one time when it come right up the last minute. But when I got to Clay, down to the town of Clay, I got in that far on a bus and then had to come on up about to Wyden, however far that was. And there was nothing to take me. So I was in there at a restaurant, and I was calling, trying to get into Wyden to tell them, come and get me, come and get me. So they finally got the message and came up there and came down there and picked me up and took me on home. But yeah, they never give us any time off. Anytime if there's sickness or something and you had to go, you could get off and go for a problem. But they never gave you any time off for anything. They'd say, no, you're going to work. And they didn't want you to know what anybody else was doing. You did your work. And it wasn't nothing to you what the other person in the next station was doing. But the bulkhead of the plane that we worked on, it would come down the assembly line. It was just one great big building, and we were just all in there working together, but doing all different things. But when this bulkhead came down to our station, we got on and did what we had to do, and then it would go on to another station. But all the rivets, every rivet had to be inspected. They had to inspect everything we did. Every screw it was put in, every rivet, everything had to be inspected. And then after it went to through the inspection, it always went to the paint shops. Many of the girls wrote their names on them and tried to get some of the guys in service to write them back. They'd write their names or an address, try to get a letter from some of them in service. But I stayed in a house with 4 other girls, or maybe 5 other girls. Back in those days, you didn't have a room to yourself, and you slept 2 in a bed, and you didn't know when you went in who your roommate was going to be. But it was very nice. This lady where I stayed, she just kept girls, and they fixed our breakfast and our lunch, and fixed us a lunch to take with us to work in the evening. I worked the evening shift, and it was just whatever they had to fix with. A lot of times we had pinto bean sandwiches. Then nice the pinto beans up and put them on a sandwich. They taste pretty good too, especially when you're raised on pinto beans.
How old were you whenever you moved to Ohio?
I was 21 when I went. My mother had died when I was 16, and Dad was real sick at that time, and he wasn't able to work. So there were 2 girls. I had a sister that was older than me, and us 2 girls were home. So I went out to work to do something to help with the finance at the house, and come back in the house and help there too. But I was going a lot then. And then when I was in Akron, Ohio is where I went to work. And I was there about 2.5, 3 years. I left before it was over. It was winding down, the war was winding down, but I had some health problems. And I thought, well, if I get sick, I've got people at home that can take care of me, and I'm going to go home. So I got out and came on home, but I went back to work it was a coal mining camp, and I went back to work in the company store when I got back to West Virginia, back where I was working before. And
what'd your dad think when you left town to go to Ohio to work?
He didn't say much. I think he knew that I was going to have to get out on my own. We was just out there on the farm, and there was no income coming in, and he knew that I was going to have to do something. So he never did say anything, never did try to keep me from it or anything. He was sick, and he wasn't able to do anything. So my older sister stayed home and took care of him.
Which sister was that?
Iva.
Okay.
Yeah, she stayed home and took care of him, and Perry was at home that time. My oldest brother was home. There were 10 of us in the family, and I was the youngest of 10. So I think they got tired of telling people what to do. The time I got up any size, I had so many bosses, all of them 9 older ones was all telling me what to do. And I had more bosses than anybody else, I think. But anyway, we were a big family, and we had a lot of love for each other.
Do you have any relatives in Ohio when you moved out there?
No, I didn't have any relatives there. My sister had some in-laws out there. My sister Laura, Miriam Martin, and her husband's sister was out there. And they said, well, come out and stay with us. We'll help you get started. So that's where I went out to their house and stayed with them about a month, maybe not over that length of time, till I drawed a check till I could get out and get on my own. Started out on the bus with $35 going into Ohio. With the last payday I'd got where I was working at the fountain, so that's what I had to start out with.
Wow.
I'd like to make a correction. I said she was 99. She was 101
Oh my goodness.
when
Yes.
she
Back
died.
in that time, we called it Dutch and Holland, but it's Netherlands now. They're all together, Netherlands. And these people were starving to death. The Germans had them pinned off and had told them that they were going to do this and that for them and build them up. And then when they got their land, they were starving them to death. They didn't have any food. And they had a big field out there that they made a big X in that field, and our planes flew in and dropped food down for them. And they knew that the women had made the planes because the men were all gone. Even the boys in high school, they knew when they graduated they were going to be drafted. So they would quit before they graduated so they could join the branch of service and maybe get in something different from what they would put them in if they drafted them. So they knew that the women, the people in Newfoundland knew that women had made all the planes, and they wanted to honor the women in that had worked in the aircraft plants. So they came to the embassy in Washington, D.C., and they were maybe 14 or 15 of us there at that time. And they had a tree for us. So that pink dogwood is our tree, and they put on a program for us there, and they were honoring us there. And then a month later, the King and Queen came, and they came to the Arlington Cemetery. And they had all the bands from the different branches of service out there playing for them, and the King and Queen made a wreath on it. They were 5 Rosies, and we could have 1 escort. And there were 5 veterans, and they could have 1 escort. So they had 10 there, 5 Rosies and 5 veterans. And the King and Queen came in and shook hands with all of us, and they had us lined up. And when they come in, the way we were lined up, I was the first in line. And I thought to myself, what do you say to a king? And I told him my name and where I worked during World War II. And then his wife reached to shake hands with me, and I said, I'm a hugger, but I know better than to hug a queen. And she came right in again and said, you can hug me.
No.
I thought that was real nice of her, but I had my arms full of stuff, but I couldn't hug her. She was leaning to give me, but I couldn't hug her. That was one hug I didn't get. But they were real nice. They were a young like couple. They said they had, I think, 3 little girls at home. So it was nice to meet them. And they had food for us and things fixed up and took us around and showed us all things. They're very grateful over there in Arlen for the things that the United States has done for them. And they were very thankful for them. And they paid for 4 Rosies to go to Newfoundland.
To the
Netherlands, to the Netherlands. They paid for 4 people to go to the Netherlands for 3 days. And I thought that far I couldn't make it, and I didn't sign up to go. But I wished afterwards I had, because one lady went in a wheelchair and the others had to take care of her. And I know I could have made it if she made it. But they said they had a wonderful time there. And we have a wonderful leader, Ann Montague. She lives in
Look at
Charlotte.
Ann.
And she's always calling, wanting me to go places with her, but I can't keep up with her. She does real well, though, and she works real hard to try to keep the Rosie organization going. The organization she's got started for the Rosies is Thanks, Plain and Simple. And that's about describes us, because we were all just plain, simple people from out of the country that were doing most of that. After the King and Queen were here, I went out to get, after they were in Arlington, one morning I went out to get the paper, and I saw a package on my front porch. And I thought, well, what's somebody sending me some more junk for? I need to get rid of what I've got. I don't need anything else. Took it in and opened it, and it was a big picture of me shaking hands with the King and the Queen. And I thought, well, how nice. It had the seals on it and everything, and it's very nice. It
That's beautiful.
It's something I'm very proud of. And I have so many things around that the family have got. My nieces and nephews have bought stuff and got plaques for me and plaques on the wall, and everything is real nice. And I appreciate all that they all did for me, and hope that they can get back what they brought in when I'm gone. Hope they can take those things that they can have for what they want to use it for.
Wow. That was absolutely beautiful. Yay.
I appreciate it so much for y'all to, I'm crying a lot these days because we're losing so many roses. But, it's people like you that are going to keep this thing going. And we are doing projects, in the name of the roses. So that's really important that we keep the work ethic alive and remember them with good work ethic for freedom, because that's what they did.
And we're happy to be a part of helping you to keep the roses alive. It's such an honor. And to have met some of those amazing women. Some of them had crushes on Charles. That was so funny. They like for him to give the wolf whistles.
Yeah, Ann got me in trouble, see.
Yeah. So cute. And I was always amazed on how wonderful their memories are. I mean, they literally know what happened. I mean, we're talking years. They can tell you what happened.
60 and 70 years ago, and they remember what happened on any particular day.
Yeah, they just rattle it off like it was yesterday. And I always tell everybody, I can walk in the kitchen and say, what the heck I come in here for?
Oh, man.
And they can rattle off what happened 50, 60 years ago like it was nothing. And they're in their late 90s and 100. I mean, if I could only be so blessed, but it's such an honor, and it's an honor to have you. And Ann works so hard, and we're just so happy to have her a part of our team and being a part of the Roses movement. Thank you so much.
Let me show the Rosie video.
Yeah, please do, as we go into move into the next guest.
What month?
Nope. Sorry. Wrong one. Oh, let me stop hers first.
The lady you're going to be seeing is also deceased. She died a few weeks ago.
I know. Well, I'll give it up and I'll show it at the end.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on then. Patrice, you can take the floor now, girlfriend.
Okay. My friend Roxanne, I'm so happy to introduce my friend Roxanne. She's an Air Force Specialty Code Personnel veteran. She was deployed to Kuwait, and she did a one-year tour in South Korea. When she transitioned from the military, she went on the GI Bill to pursue a bachelor's degree. And after successful completion, she applied for the State Department with the Employment Development Department as a veteran representative. She's been with...
Patrice, can I stop you for a second? Someone has background noise. Do you know who that is?
That's my background noise.
That's her.
Oh, that you?
She's over there. They're having a jam session over there. They got that's what I was saying. They got all that Marvin Gaye and all that other stuff playing over there. Now that's why
had the race cars last week.
Yeah, right. He had the race cars last week. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But Roxanne, she's been with the State Department for over 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And she's had the opportunity to work with veterans to connect them to employment, housing, and training opportunities. So I'm going to let her talk to you about, without any background noise, and let you know all the opportunities that she has to offer.
Okay, great. Take it away, Roxanne.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is such a great opportunity. I jumped at the opportunity to be part of this as a military veteran. I am blessed to have had a support system. Sometimes that support system is not always there for all our veterans. That's why I think the organizations that are established to connect them, it needs to get out there. The word needs to get out there. So I totally agree with Martha, how she was mentioning all these other stuff that, the transition, the connection. So I represent EDD as a veteran representative, but the organization I do want to point out today is the South Bay Veterans Employment Committee. Reason is it's a little small nonprofit. We've been around for a while and we're back in to connect after with COVID, we've been limited, but we're trying to connect. We have employers, resource providers just coming in once a month on Fridays. We're trying to accommodate in person and virtual to make sure that the word gets out that our veterans are needing to connect with services, whether it be employment, housing, resources. We got so many different things going on in the community. We just want to make sure that those veterans get to know about it. We got events. We got a couple of stand down events. Those stand down events, those individuals that may know, it's a huge event. I mean, you have healthcare, eye check, in some cases, not always, in some cases, overnight accommodations. So such a great opportunity. They're all events that are projected now that we're gradually opening up, as far as resources, and that we can help them with employment, connecting them to those employment opportunities, recruitments, job fairs. Also helping them with their resume, interview skills. A lot of veterans may not be prepared for that employment. So it's so important to make sure that they know, how do I go about applying for a job? I want a federal job. I want a nonprofit, or training. I think as a veteran, I had the funds for it, but what about those veterans that no longer are eligible for their GI Bill?
Right.
There's so many resources. We want to make sure that they get that opportunity, and also housing. Housing. Maybe they're not ready to transition to transitional housing, but letting them know that it's there. So many organizations, again, it's getting the word out. So I really appreciate being part of this committee today, being able to connect with you, because that way we can serve our veterans. They serve, now it's our time to also serve them. So thank you so much for having me come on the show.
And you have to come back as many times as you want to keep spreading the word. And can you give us your contact information so that we can be able to put the word out? We have some amazing things, as projects that are coming up that will be able to assist you in getting the word out as well. We don't want to talk about it right yet. Martha and I and Charles are working on some dynamite stuff.
Perfect. Should I put that on the chat or?
Yeah, you put it on the chat, and then you can, and also let our listeners and viewers know about it too. So
yes, please. Yes.
How do we contact you?
So they can call me directly to the office at 562-384-4963. And actually, let me provide you my work cell, because yes, here we go. Actually, because we're teleworking, our offices still hasn't completely open, but please reach out directly on my cell phone at 916-639-3103. I'd love to be able to chat with you, connect you to the resources that are available in the community. And I thank you for your military service as well, for those that served.
And what's your email address?
Yes, and that could be with my first name, Roxana, ROXANA.GOMEZ at edd.ca.gov.
Roxanne, are you in Torrance?
I'm sorry?
Are you in Torrance?
It's one of our offices, but the South Bay Veterans Employment Committee is mainly out of the South Bay. My official office is in Long Beach.
Okay, because I work with Bridget. You know Bridget in Torrance?
Yes, Bridget Cruz.
Yes.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's great. She's got a lot of resources and training opportunities for those veterans.
Yes. Okay.
So your email address again is Roxana, ROXANA.GOMEZ at edd.gov.
edd.ca.gov.
And is it one N or two N's, Roxana?
It'll be just one N.
Just one N. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I thank you, Roxana, because I think one of the things you highlighted that I want to kind of shine the spotlight on is, sometimes I think veterans get confused that these services are only available once they transfer out, right, of this, active duty and into whatever they're going to do next. But these are opportunities that are available to you on a continuum, right?
Yes.
So training opportunities, employment opportunities, and I think that's part of the miss. Or kind of the confusion is that, these are just only available if you're a veteran that's just transitioning out of active duty. And I want to say that's huge, because say you're in transition, trying to build a new career, or we just kind of are on the tail end of this pandemic. We hope and pray, but you may want to just look at something new, right? Getting a completely new job. So this training money that's available is really important, and I want everyone to know that. So you really want to make sure that we get your information, your flyers, the stand down info. I know I've been to one stand down, they're amazing. But thank you, Roxana. That's really important information that you're sharing with us, and I know I will definitely reach out to you.
Oh, great.
And
Yes.
so will I. She's going to reach out on behalf
Also,
of both
Roxana,
of us.
yeah, we went to the SoFi Stadium. The South Bay Employment Vet organization organized a tour, and actually vets are going to have kind of an in when they apply, when their resumes go in, they get an extra kind of a consideration.
Yes,
So
that's true.
and there's some great jobs that pay really good money at SoFi Stadium.
Well, we sure thank you, Patrice, for bringing on Roxanne.
Yes.
She's absolutely fabulous. And always know that you're welcome back, and come back with more information and more resources, because you see how the show is structured. We need as much information as possible to get the word out to our vets. Okay.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Okay, we're moving right along here. Mark, I want you to introduce our good buddy, Kev, and Miss Bella. Where's Miss Bella? What, you muted, Kevin.
She's playing. She's over there playing with her toys.
Oh, is she?
Birthday. She ain't got
Well, you
time.
already.
Birthday, yes. She don't want to be bothered with this. She's playing.
She's so temperamental, isn't she? Do you have a birthday outfit for her? You usually have an outfit.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's not on. It's for tomorrow for the party.
Oh, well, you should show us, though.
Okay, I'm gonna show you. Hold on.
Miss Bella be like, I gotta do this now.
It's not on. It's not wearing it.
Like she like
She's
Sweet Brown.
just
Ain't
gonna
got
show us
nobody,
the
nobody
outfit.
got time for that.
He's having a whole birthday party tomorrow.
Yeah, the cake and everything,
Okay, here's her birthday outfit.
Let's see.
Oh,
Oh, goodness. Isn't that the cutest thing? Where do you find those clothes from?
I got this on Amazon, and it just came today in the mail. I ordered it, and it just arrived.
Oh, how cute.
They knocked at the door while we were talking.
Oh, really?
So this is
one of these times when you come on, you're gonna have to show everyone how you dress her up in all these different outfits. She has an outfit for every occasion.
Everything.
Yeah. And you have to let her.
Bougie Bella.
Yeah, Bougie Bella.
Miss Bella.
Yeah, that's Miss Bella, honey. She goes everywhere. And Kev, before you introduce your guest, you have to let everyone know just what a wonderful impact Miss Bella had on your life, still have on your life.
As well, how I got her was when I first got my first apartment off the streets out of I was in the shelter. And when I first got my very first apartment.
You were homeless for how long?
28 years. Drug addict, alcoholic, lived in the gutter. And I was out there for 28 years, and I in and out of county jail. And I just couldn't seem to break my way away from it. So I wound up in prison, and
after the military, right?
Yes. After the military, I was homeless for 28 years from the day of discharge.
Wow.
And I went to prison, and when I went to prison, that's when I turned my life around. I committed myself to the Lord, and I changed a lot of my ways. And I had never touched another drug or alcohol from the day of my arrest. And so I'm going to be celebrating 12 years. I'll be celebrating 12 years clean and sober in September.
Whoa.
That's just a blessing how my life has changed, and how she changed me was I got my first apartment in Skid Row. It was an SRO, single room occupancy, and I got in there, and it's the first time that I ever was alone with myself and my feelings. because when you're on the streets, you're always with somebody. When you're in prison, you're never out of sight of somebody. You're always with somebody. So when I was in the shelter, never alone. So when I got this apartment, I sat in there by myself with my feelings. I didn't like it. I didn't want to be in there by myself. I didn't want all this stuff going on in my mind. You know, I needed distraction. So my psychiatrist said, well, get a dog. I said, I do not want a dog. I said, I'm not walking a dog. I'm going to feed a dog. I would never deal with a dog. I said, you know, get that out of my mind. He said, well, why don't we just do the paperwork and, you know, maybe you'll change your mind at some point. I said, you can do any paperwork you want. I said, I'm not getting a dog. So time went on and a guy contacted me and he said, Kevin, you don't know me. He said, but I see you in the AA meetings. He said, I know you're very faithful to your Catholic faith. That I fell away from my faith. He said, can I come to church with you? I said, sure, you can come to church. So he would come to church, and he was Filipino, and he would come to church, and you know, we go and one day he said, well, I'm going to take you out to eat. He said, but we got to go to my house first because I left my wallet. I said, sure, okay. So I went into the house, and here came Miss Bella down the hallway, shaking her little hiney and wagging that tail. And I just looked at her and I thought, I want her.
How old was she then?
She was 2.
Oh.
So I never told anybody. I never told him I wanted his dog. I never prayed to God for her or anything. I just kept it to myself, you know, how badly I wanted her. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call. And it's the guy, and he calls me and he says, Kevin, he said, my job is transferring me and I can't take Bella with me. He said, can you take her? Oh, I said, yes, I'll take her. I said, yes, of course I'm going to take her. So that's when her name was Bella at the time. So he said, all right, come over for Thanksgiving and you'll sit and I'm going to see if you get along with her. If you do, you can come back in 3 weeks and get her. So I went to Thanksgiving and she sat with me the whole time, never leave my side. So he said, Kevin, just take her now. He said, I don't want to go away from you and back and forth. Just take her. So I packed up all her stuff and off she came to Skid Row. So
Like, what happened?
She was in shock because she lived in a house with a doggy door in a backyard, and here I'm bringing her down to this place. She like, what the hell? And I took her on the elevator. She was never on the elevator before. She's shaking on the elevator. And then I'd be walking her down the street and all these crazy people, and then the buses would whish by and she'd jump off to the side when she heard the buses. So sooner than later, she became the queen down there. She was in charge because I was down there for 7 years. So I said, that's why I say, she changed my life. She's what I needed and she's what I still need. And that's why I say, God knows your heart, because I never asked anybody for, I never told anybody, but God knew that I wanted her. So I look at her and I know that she's a gift from God. So when I look at her, I see the love of Jesus, because I know that he sent her to me. So she's very, very special to me, and she always will. So today is her birthday, so I'm gonna take her to Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh.
Yeah. So and then the party tomorrow.
Wouldn't there be a lot of walking for her at Knott's Berry Farm?
I carry her, you know that.
Okay, well, that's true too. But why Knott's Berry Farm? Why you don't take her somewhere where she can play?
She can play there. I'm gonna take her to see the Boysenberry Festival. Today's the last.
I don't know nothing about no boys.
Today's the last day.
You don't know nothing about no boys and bellas. You going for yourself. That's the thing.
Hey, and the veterans get a discount. Don't the veterans get a discount?
She likes to do anything I like to do.
Okay.
So she's a true party animal,
Yeah. He brought her out to my house one time and she was just as cozy and comfortable, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
She loved it,
Yeah.
And she's very bougie and temperamental. But she, like, I don't know, but she was sweetheart. She loved it coming out here. She won't let you get too much sugar. I wanted some sugar.
She does it now. Now she does. Now she's more giving sugar now.
Oh, she getting more sugar now. Okay.
Yeah. Give some kisses. She knows.
Yeah. Oh, she's so precious. But anyway, Kev, go ahead and introduce your guest.
Okay, so
Sherry.
so this is my guest. Let me explain what I do first because we work together. I work for PATH and I work for an HVRP, helping veterans receive paychecks. So what we do is we have veterans that are homeless or at risk of homelessness, and we get them training jobs. That's basically what we do. And we get their supportive services like uniforms and whatever else they may need, gas cards, bus passes, and things like that to help them on their transition into work. Now, my guest, Sharon Panfile, she works for a company called Avatara. And Avatara and I work very, very closely together. We've been working together, I guess, for it must be three years, maybe this is the fourth year. I'm not sure, but it's been a while. And we work and we get these veterans and we get them what they need, and we get them to work. So her company hires the veterans that I send their way, and then we work together with finding the veterans and getting them their needs and getting them the job. So we work together every day. She's in Ohio, I'm in Los Angeles, but we're on that phone, and we're getting these veterans, we're getting them off the street and getting their jobs. And sometimes it doesn't work out, and that company is very, very understanding in that way because a lot of the veterans, they're homeless, they've never worked before, so they may not show up for work, and and then no call, no show, and then then they want to come back. And a lot of times, if we feel as though they're sincere about it, they'll give them a second chance. So they're very good with hiring the veterans, and when things do go wrong, within consideration, they say, okay, let's try it again. So they're a wonderful partner to work with, and I just love working with Sharon, and I'll let her. I'm going to introduce you now. So now here is Sharon, and she will explain a little bit about Avatara.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank all of you for inviting me here today. Our company was started about 20 years ago, and by a two-tour Vietnam veteran Marine. And when he came home, he was homeless, and he felt that the word homeless and veteran shouldn't be in the same sentence, or jobless. So he made it his mission to get the veteran the benefits they needed. And for many years, he worked with veteran service organizations, finding benefits for them. And just as a fluke, he wanted some extra cash, so he just started mowing lawns and ran into someone that had a contract at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base here in Dayton. And that guy was retiring, and Larry Jackson was the veteran. And he took over that mowing job, and he brought his son-in-law in, who was a Marine Afghan veteran, and they started mowing the lawns at Wright-Patterson. And being in the sort of contracting business at the time when he took over this contract, he found other contracts and found other ways of finding government contracts. And so off they went, not only doing lawn mowing, ground maintenance, they also got into custodial technician work at VA medical centers across the country, ground maintenance on military bases and in national cemeteries. And they also do cemetery stone reset and realignment in the national cemeteries. So that's what we do. And right now we're running 2 contracts in LA. One is at the LA VA Medical Center, custodial contract there. And the other one is at the Long Beach VA Medical Center, custodial contract there as well. currently, we also have a cemetery contract at Crown Hill, Indianapolis, Indiana, and also in San Antonio at the Fort Sam Houston Cemetery in Texas. And we love hiring veterans. They are our first choice. When I go out looking, before I ran into Kevin, I always went out to the VA hospitals. We had a contract here in Dayton, and they had a CWT program, a compensated work therapy program for veterans. And we went to them asking them, how can we hire your people? Because we need people to work there at the Dayton hospital. And from that point, we learned all about the CWT program. And wherever we go now in hospitals, we go directly to their CWT programs to get the veterans that we can hire from there. And we've hired several of those veterans out there in California from these programs. But Kevin has been extremely instrumental to our country because he has so many contacts everywhere, and he's very, very hot on hiring the veteran as well. So we work closely together. He's, like he says, we're on the phone every day. He's either calling me saying, I've got somebody for you, or I'm calling him and say, hey, I found a veteran, can you enroll him in your program? And that's what we do. That's what I love to do. I can tell that Kevin loves to do it as well. So we do hire off the civilian as well. We were in several OJT over the on the job training agencies. So we do hire the civilian as well. And most of those civilians are either homeless or close to being homeless or unemployed for a long periods of time. And we have become that second chance company. We've hired incarcerated veterans. We just, a couple of years ago, we hired an incarcerated person that was in prison for 22 years and did not even know how to use a cell phone because they weren't invented while he was in prison.
Wow.
And he has done very well, moved up to the rank of supervisor at the time he was with us. So several of these veterans, yes, several of these veterans are directly from Kevin that have been moved into supervisory positions and shift manager positions. So we really, really do love hiring the veteran as our first choice.
That is so great. Well, we're just excited to have you on the show today, and maybe you'll come back. No, please come back and maybe share or show some of your successful clients that have started out with your organization, you and Kevin, and now, like you said, are managers or supervisors over some of the companies, and they were homeless at one time. That would be great.
We did receive a visit from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Really?
We have some pictures with him with one of our veterans because he came to the LA VA Medical Center because they have a whole area on the property of the VA where they've dedicated to the homeless veterans, and they put tents up for them.
Right. We're familiar with that area. Mm-hmm.
And Arnold came in and decided they needed tiny houses.
Right.
So now they're in the process of putting 110 tiny houses there on the property for the veterans.
Okay, that's great. All right.
Tents are gone. I think there's only 2 tents left.
Yes.
I sent you an email this morning, Consuela. There was something that just came out in the news media about that effort, right? So it was a really informational interview, kind of where things are at up to date. Because it's been a long and drawn out argument that we've heard from veteran advocates, veterans themselves, the VA, right? About what are they going to do to get those homeless veterans that are actually on the ground, or on the grounds of the VA. And so you have to check your email. I just found an article today about that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Also, I want to say that Sharon and I worked very tirelessly through the pandemic. We didn't take any time off through the pandemic, and we got our guys hired. We got, then when some became sick with COVID, we had to have them, taken off and put it into different type of shelters if they didn't have a place to go for quarantine. and then, and then hired back again. So we were very busy throughout the pandemic as well. We kept
That's
things
great.
going.
That's so cool. Well, you being a board member, we got you busy. You have no idea what you getting ready to do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Kevin's awesome. And I have to speak, just 1 minute. And I know but Kevin really came to my rescue a couple of months ago when I was in transition. And I have to attest at how available he is, there to pray with you, listen to you, encourage you, right? And sometimes it's all we need, because it could be a small transition that looks and feels like a huge transition that could take, so much more of your time. And so I just want to thank you, Kevin, for helping me kind of in my recent transition. And it really made a huge difference knowing that you were there to help, vet to vet, and just to keep me encouraged and keep the options open, right? And that's what sharing resources is all about, right? We circumvent a potential catastrophe of some sort, and especially when it comes to employment, right? We're all, some of us, a paycheck away, and it's nice to just continue to keep that network of veterans and resources flowing. So thank you, Kevin, and happy birthday to your wonderful dog, because I seen her too.
I'm so happy with you in your new position.
Thank you,
I
Kevin.
would like to say too that Kevin touched on this just a bit, but we are very much aware of veterans with PTSD and all the issues that come with that, knowing that it can affect their work. And many people don't even realize, the things that are happening with the vet is part of PTSD. And so we know that, well, the Larry Jackson that started the company was 100% service connected because as a result of PTSD. And so we try to train our shift managers to be aware of some of those things that might come up, and acting out, anger, all those things that happen. And like you said, sometimes they don't come to work, they don't call in, they don't show up. And normally we would just say, you're not reliable, you have to go, but we don't. What I do when I hear the story, when I'm made aware of the story, I immediately call Kevin and listen, can you talk to this guy? He's not coming to work, he's not calling in, he's acting out. Can you talk to him? Before we write that termination letter, we try to a very good chance to work it out. And sometimes they do have to leave. We just rehired one several months ago that had issues with PTSD and had to check himself back into rehab to get himself worked out again. And he called us and said, "Can I come back? I'm well now." And we immediately took him back. Yes, with open arms, you can come back.
That's wonderful.
So we try not to just say, okay, he's just a screw up, he's got to go. We work with Kevin and the agencies to keep in touch.
We're happy to have him on our team. We're getting ready to put him to work too. He knows that Operation Calm has been working hard with our veterans teeny house project, and then COVID set in right when we were about to launch. But God is so good, he sings that I don't ever stop as long as I have him. And an amazing opportunity has come our way. We can't talk about it right now, but we'll be able to announce it soon. And beware, Kevin, you will be busy.
That's okay. That's okay. As long as we meet our goal.
I know, exactly. But we're going to move right on. And thank you once again for coming on the show, Sharon. You've just been wonderful. And we want you always to know you're always welcome. And we want you back. And like I said before, bring some of your successful clients on too, if you can.
And if you have any ideas to starting what you're doing here in Ohio, I'm wide open.
Oh, for sure.
Oh.
Yeah, huh? That would, we just might do that, huh, Mark? Never know about
Hey, Charles, huh, Charles?
That's right.
Hey,
Charles is our AV.
Never know.
Right.
Okay, so we're moving right along. Charles, you're going to introduce our board president.
Sure.
Jimmy McGee.
Our next guest is Board President of Operation Confidence. That's Jimmy McGee. Jimmy first got his start in the field of pharmaceuticals while studying at the University of Southern California School.
Wait just a moment, Jimmy. Wee-hoo, Jimmy.
I think it's frozen. He's, I think he's frozen.
There you go.
There you go. It's frozen.
Your internet froze.
It looked like
hear?
you were asleep, but you weren't. You were just frozen.
Can you hear us, Jimmy? I think it's still frozen.
It's frozen.
Your internet is frozen. Can you hear us? Jimmy.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we just your picture's frozen. But as long as we can hear you, let's move on.
Yes.
Okay. Jimmy first got his start in the field of pharmaceuticals while studying at the University of Southern California School of Pharmacy.
Yes.
That provided him a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs in the VA hospital of the Wilshire District in L.A.
Uh-oh, his internet is really messing up.
Well, we at least everybody can hear what he does, If he can't talk, then we'll make something up to sound good for you, Jimmy.
Maybe he can hear us now. No,
he can hear us. You can hear us, right? It just us hearing him is what the problem is, I believe. But you like that commercial that the guy said.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, maybe you should move to another part of the house.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'll continue to.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
We just gonna go on and let
you
start talking because while we got ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy McGee.
All right. Yeah. Hello. Hi. You know what? The first thing I want to say is that you guys are extraordinary. I'm telling you. I'm listening to all these programs that for the veterans, and that's just wonderful. All the people that's working for the vets and the homeless vets. I mean, that's simply amazing. And it's people like the individuals that you have on there and Operation Confidence. I mean, we need more situations like that. We really do. We really do, because without our vets, our country wouldn't be where it is, without our vets,
That's
anyway.
Right. Well, why don't we let Charles finish introducing you?
All right,
let's see. Where do I start back? Let's see. Okay. All right, let's see. After receiving his is it PharmD in?
Yes.
Okay, PharmD. He soon rose in the ranks within the VA hospital and was instrumental in many pharmaceutical innovations such as the unit dose system, which provided the proper calibration and preparation for intravenous medications. This revolution in science is now the standard of protocol used in all major hospitals. Jimmy's wide-ranging experience led to his affiliation with the American Society of Health System Pharmacists, or ASHP. Here he was able to provide professional representation to pharmacists who serve as patient care providers in acute and ambulatory care settings. For nearly 25 years, Jimmy served the United States military at the VA hospital until his retirement. After retirement, he decided to take the wealth of knowledge that he received from his many years of experience and began to teach pharmacy technology at California Paramedical and Technical College. Over the next several years, he served as the Assistant Director of Life Sciences at Canyon Springs High School, Program Director of Pharmacy Technology at Kaplan College, and American College of Healthcare. Jimmy holds an MBA in business. Now go ahead, share your information, Jimmy.
What do you want to know? Thanks for that flowery introduction.
Flowery.
What information do you need from me? Just let me know. I was listening to the young lady speaking about the non-inclusive situations that the female veterans are not having, through the VA. And when I was working there, it was the same way then. And I was telling Connie, a couple of years ago that I didn't know that my mother was in the military until she passed.
Really?
Yeah, yes. I mean, I didn't know that until she passed. She was, during World War II. And I wasn't aware that they really had a lot of women of color, in the military, in the Army, and this was, and my mother passed in, 1999, and I didn't know that until she passed, when we was at the Veterans Memorial Cemetery. And the flag ceremonies came out, and I'm up here scratching my head. I didn't know, none of her children knew. Yeah.
Wow.
But anyway,
a lot of the female veterans keep it quiet. They don't talk about it.
Yeah, I guess not.
That was real quiet then.
Yeah.
That's interesting you say that, Jimmy, because it made me think. My older boy was he was small, but he remembered because I was still active. But my younger boy, he didn't know either until I just kind of recently connected with Consuela. So it's so funny that you say that, because I just never mentioned it. And so he had asked recently too, like, "Oh, Mom, you were in the military?" So it's weird. You just didn't talk about it, probably, huh?
Yes, but she never spoke about it. Yeah.
I can relate a story. I'm gonna tell you real quick, because the guy I work with, he was riding with his boys, and they were 20 something, and he had an old Michael Jackson's tape. The music was playing in their radio in the car, and he handed them the CD cover, and one of them guys, he said, they looked and said, "Michael Jackson is black." See, they didn't know, because he was always, and they were like, "What?" And so and I can understand that, how, if you don't talk about it, how would they know?
Right.
If you didn't talk about it, so how would you guys know?
Yes, that's true. That's true. But getting back, I worked at VA for a lot of years, a lot of wonderful years there at the VA. Because when I first started VA, I was extremely young. I was just barely out of my teens, and at that time, the VA was completely ran by military personnel. Totally, totally. I was surprised that I got in, but every department was run military, and the whole situation at the VA, the terminology and everything was strictly military. Yeah. And I found it that was kind of difficult for me going there as a youngster, but I worked there a lot of years, and those are very formative years for me and very wonderful years for me. And they did send me to school, as long as I gave a certain amount of years to the government, they did send me to school, and I appreciated that, But I was a government man. I was a G man,
Right. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, so we have some information here about myths and facts. Do you have that with you, Jimmy?
Like pertaining to what? What do you
on the script? But
mean?
he wanted to more or less talk about what he knew.
Well, that's fine. I just want to, if it was something that you're good. Just
right.
Talk about what you talk about, man. I like the whole thing. Mom's was in the military, and you didn't know. It was like,
yeah, that was, yeah. I just remember. Go ahead, Connie. I'm sorry.
What I think is extraordinary is that you were on a team and tell us more about that team that you were on that had a lot to do with some of the well, let me let you tell what the team was doing before I mess it all up.
Uh-oh,
where'd you go?
My phone is trying to go out, and I've been moving all over the house to find a plug that works. I'm at my daughter's apartment.
Okay.
So my phone's about to go
Don't
out.
move from the spot.
What, you mean the football team or what?
No,
the
pharmaceutical technology is something that you was doing at the VA. Remember the team that you?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, we
You
what we
provided
did there, this was like
calibrations?
I said, yeah,
Right.
you know, in the 70s or and before, well, see, I worked with a lot of military nurses that were on mass units during World War II, you know,
Uh-huh.
and Vietnam, you know, and the things that they were doing on the floors in a non-sterile situation, we brought those things down into the pharmacy and put it in a sterile situation, especially preparing IVs, you know, because these so intravenous situations go directly into the patients, whereas we brought everything downstairs in the pharmacy, and we have what you call a clean room.
Keep moving. Your internet is acting up again. Move over.
If you were doing surgery.
There you go.
What about now? Is that better?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. A little bit. Okay. Well, the situation was that we moved everything in the pharmacy, and we had a clean room. They had to scrub up and wear gowns and shoes and caps and everything, as if you go into surgery, in order to prepare these IVs for the patients. You know, that was just one of the situations there that we started at the VA. That here again, for the last 30 years, they've been using in most of the hospitals now, you know, in fact, in all the hospitals, larger hospitals, you know. So, and it was a couple other things, but that was the main thing right there. We put everything in a sterile environment.
That's wonderful. Well, you've been busy with our veterans, and then you moved over after you left from the VA, then you went and started teaching at the community college, no, technical colleges, and then continued on with your coaching, football coaching.
Oh yeah. I've been doing that a lot of years. You know, I've been doing it a lot of years.
Who were some of your great athletes that you were responsible for training?
Well, I have to go back because most of the ones I started coaching with, they're retired now. But we had a young man by the name of Dale Edwards. That was
keep moving. I can't hear you.
He won 2 Super Bowls with the New York, and also Lionel Manuel, who was my nephew. He won 2 Super Bowls with the New York Giants. He was starting wide receiver for them back with Lawrence Taylor, and there was a few more: Clint Sampson, Dwayne Galloway, and a few more that went on to the league, and they used football to get their education.
That was great. And then I had an opportunity of meeting one was Lance Garcia.
Oh, Lance Garcia.
Yeah, and he so happened to be a head honcho for Microsoft, you know.
Yeah.
So,
He sure is. I have one player now that's at Cal. He's a pre-med student at Cal. I think he'll be a senior or a junior. Yeah. So, you know, so I'm very proud of Josh. His name is Josh Johnson. Plus he tried out for the Olympic team as a shot putter and discus thrower also. So I'm very proud of him. I have a few, you know, my memory is kind of cloudy right now, you know, but I'm very proud of the boys, the fellas. Yeah.
Well, we don't want no cloudy memories around here now, buddy.
That says the person that goes in the kitchen and forgets what she went in there for.
That's all right. Why the memory?
I know.
That says the lady that goes in the kitchen. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, we got something coming up here that I can't wait till the opportunity presents itself for us to talk about it. But it's not time yet, but it will. Stop all that gum chewing. You ain't supposed to chew gum on the show, boy. I'm
standing up, and Judy keeps blowing me up. I hope everything is okay, you know.
Oh, she's fine. She know you.
Yeah, I know. I haven't answered her, so she just keep blowing me up, you know.
Oh, she's making you nervous, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to take care of business here, you know, and enjoy this meeting, you know.
Right. And nervous too, because Judy's blowing you up.
Yeah.
Okay, that's his wife. So that's sweet. But I really appreciate everything you have done for the organization and your dedication to our veterans. And We're gonna get you on the show more often. I know you're busy, and then we have this major project coming up, but at least you coming on once a month, okay?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
There it is.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're moving on down the road here. Martha, you got a story to share, and then we're going to all and start winding down. We had a great show today, though, huh?
Yeah, we are. So you want me to share Charles's story?
Yeah.
I'd love to. Okay. Charles Whitehead served in the U.S. Army Reserves from 1982 to 1987. He is an actor, musician, singer, songwriter, composer, and produces, directs, edits movies, and music videos. He is also the co-leader of his own music band named Per Se. Charles has worked at Rancho Los Amigos National Rehabilitation Center since 1994 as the vice chairman on the BEAC Commission for the City of Long Beach. Also sits on the board of directors with four other businesses, Charles. Wow, you are busy, including the Paralyzed Veterans of America California chapter and Operation Confidence. He is the co-host of Operation Confidence's radio show titled America's Invisible Heroes, which offers information and supports resources to help support veterans. He is also the owner of a trucking company and always encourages everyone to keep your head up and refuse to lose because life is good. On September 3rd and 4th, 2021, Charles participated in PVA's once-in-a-lifetime fundraising opportunity where he rappelled from his wheelchair over the Hilton Hotel in Long Beach. And Charles, you're also prepared to rappel again this year, right, Charles?
I am. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Charles is amazing. I will say he has been so instrumental in so many things for veterans. Charles, how do you find all the time in one day to do all this great work? I know you motivate me, and I'm amazed at how you're able to do so much and continue to just be so happy going and lucky going and so positive. So please take it away, Charles. Share us a little bit more information about your amazing career and your positive outlook on life.
Well, what for me, anything I do, if it's not fun, then I can't do it. If I, so I mean, just like here at the show, I'm a clown. I'm a clown, and and so I like to have humor in what I do, and and so it's like these are the things. So to me, it's not work, and doing stuff for veterans is that's like that goes without saying. The stuff, and I like to working with companies and things like that because I consider myself intelligent enough to know how to help with guidance, and so it's just life is good, and then it's all been it's a blessing that God has given me. I've been blessed with patience. And a lot of people don't have the patience what I have, and it's like I've been through a lot. Just a quick backstory. I had a car accident on my way home from military training after I left Fort Dix, New Jersey. I almost died. I was in it happened in Arkansas, and I ended up staying out there for a month longer than I was in the hospital. And then that was 1982, and then 5 years later, I had a car accident, and I went off a 150-foot cliff here in California, and that's what paralyzed me. So, so I'm still, it's like, hey, I still have my ability, although I use a wheelchair, I've, adapted, and, life is still grand. Life is great. It's like, hey, it's just.
And we call on him for everything. Charles! We got he's amazing. I can't thank him enough. And he got some pictures to show us too, don't you, Charles?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it.
I mean, just in case you haven't noticed this dynamic individual. And you can never say that you're got a headache or your toe hurts or your leg hurts. Because when you see
toe hurts, I won't feel it because I'm, I don't have any.
I'm talking about other folks.
I know what you're saying. Well, what I'll do is I'll show you a couple pictures, and then I'll show you a clip or two of just some of the stuff I've done. And let's see here. I've had articles. I went to I refereed wheelchair basketball and high school basketball from a wheelchair, able body. I was the only one doing it in the country, and you know, that was I got a news article from the Times and Referee Magazine. I got all kinds of articles. You know, even our band. You know, I have a few pictures. Let me see if I can show you some of this stuff. Let's see here. We'll go with. And then I went skydiving in 2005. So just a little side thing. Let's see if this bring. Well, okay, you guys, can you guys see that? You know,
Yeah, there you go.
that's just an active. This was Referee Magazine. You know, that's one. Here's a picture of me. Okay, me at a young 18-year-old. You know, when I went in. Can you see that?
Nope.
Okay. Well, then let's go back.
You saw the other one.
Okay. All right, let me go back. You know, this Zoom is acting funny today. You know, where's my more at? You know, it's for whatever reason it's showing everything. Okay, well, I'm gonna just show you this first. Here's a logo I have made up with my trucking company. You know, for the business. You know, so it's kind of like I had the idea of, you know, and I took on a business partner, Albert Campos. He came on the show, and I said, since we use wheelchairs, I said, okay, it's like, you know, we're pushing the chair, but we're pushing we're pushing the truck as well, like we're providing the energy. And so I'm a musician, and Albert's always working on this chair, and also I told the guy who did this for me, I wanted to, you know, do this, like you see tools on his truck. And then instruments and all of this, you know, musical instruments on mine. And then let me show you this. You know, I'll just show you this. This is when I rappelled down the 14th floor of the Hilton last year, and that I'm going to be doing again. So you guys can see that, right?
We just see.
Yeah. There we go.
Slower than a speeding bullet, less powerful than a locomotive, able to creep down tall buildings, but not in a single bound. Look up in the sky. Today, it's going down. They're repelling. It's going down. Over the edge, it's going down. Hey, hey, all the way down. It's going down. It's going down. Over the air. It's going down. All the way down. It's going down. All repelling. It's going down. Going over the air. It's going down. All the way down. It's going down. It's going down. Over the air. All the way down. Hey, hey. Down to the ground. You're on the ground.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you.
So Charles, let me ask you. So you played with your band first and then went and repelled and went back to play with your band after?
I played with first I was DJing, and as everybody was coming down, and then we started, went up to the pool, and all the guys from the band set up, and I went up. They were playing before I got there a little bit, and then we played. I played with them, then I went and, oh, hold on, let me, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, we're starting to wind down.
And then I went up and played with them, and then I left them while they were playing and got in and had to set up to do the rappelling. I did that, and I came down and they were already done, and they were putting everything away, and I finished up. It was And you know, I had COVID. I had just come back from having quarantine from COVID, and I was nauseated for like 3 weeks afterwards. And so that day, it was like it was it didn't bug me as much, and then there was times when I had low energy, but I was fine for that whole weekend. But
Wow.
now,
Then you went
now
home and worked on the music video, or the video.
no, I actually made that. Yeah, well, I didn't do the video right away. I did that, probably a week or two afterwards. But yeah, it's like, these are the kind of things that I like to do. I want to show you my skydiving video real quick, and then we can wind down.
Yeah, okay.
'Cause I know we way over today, but it ain't my fault. No, I'm just kidding. So. Let's see here. Let's get rid of this.
Wake up, Kevin.
Kevin, like, I'm done with you guys. It's like, oh, and I played wheelchair football at the Blister Bowl. It's just,
Very active life.
mm-hmm. All right. Okay, let me close that. And all of a sudden, everybody's sending me messages. My sister, I'm like, all right, here we go. This was 2005. You guys see that?
Uh-huh.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Pretty good.
What are you about to do, man?
Jump.
Awesome. You're going skydiving, huh?
Skydiving.
Have you ever done this before?
Never. First time ever. I don't know if it'll be the last, but you gotta try it once to see.
All right. Has anybody told you what altitude we're going up to?
I heard like 12,000 feet or something.
Yeah, about 13,000 feet. Who gets to pull the ripcord? He does?
I'm going to give you the chance to do it, actually.
All right. That works for me.
5,000 feet once you reach back and pull that ripcord.
As long as somebody pulls it.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah, let's have a good time out there.
All right. Thanks.
What's your altitude right now? All right, getting up there. How you feeling? Are you nervous?
I don't get nervous.
All right, excited?
Excited and excited.
All right, let's have a good time out there.
Do this.
Make sure you have your head back as much as you can so your face will be on the video. Eric, watch your foot. Away we go,
How was that, Charles?
Fabulous.
What was your favorite part?
Being on the ground.
They stay landing.
That was actually exciting.
Good. Why don't you go ahead and take your goggles off?
I am on the ground now.
All right. Give us a big thumbs up. Yeah.
That was amazing. Congratulations, my friend.
So, you know, I don't want
That's-
to keep up with all of that stuff. You know, it's a lot of stuff. You
That
know,
was
it's just,
great.
life is good. You know, and you know, I appreciate you know, being here. You know, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
for
Every
sure.
time something happens to me, it's like, you know, hey, I'm not. People say, man, you got 9 lives. Well, believe it or not, I've been in 9 different hospitals as an inpatient. You know, as an inpatient,
Wow.
9 hospitals through my whole life, and you know, and I'm still ticking. I'm still, you know, I'm still rolling. I'm still. I have my senses. You know, and then life is grand. So you know.
Well, we appreciate you so much. So you and I've been around a long time too, doing a lot of stuff for our veterans. You know, you
Yeah, yeah.
participated in some wonderful, wonderful projects that we worked on, and we got a big one coming up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. But listen, we're going to wind down. We won't even talk about Amazon because we're running over
Yeah.
time. But
I got a new segment I want to start next week called Animal Humor. Okay, you guys
okay.
will like that. You know, you'll like it. You know, we'll have it a little piece for you know, animals. You know.
Oh, I love that for sure. Well, get the information to me. Okay, Martha, it's on you. Be closing down.
Okay, as always, we want to inform our listeners about our amazing advertisement rates. We have 20 and 30-second advertisement slots available. If interested, please email info@operationconfidence.org for more information and visit Operation Confidence website at www.operationconfidence.org's resource page for some amazing resources. I'd also like to inform our viewers and radio listeners about Amazon Smile. When making your next purchase on Amazon, please go to Amazon Smile and type in Operation Confidence in the Choose Your Organization donation box. Amazon will make a small donation to Operation Confidence. Also, to get involved in Operation Confidence's tiny house project, please visit our website and send us a message on how you would like to be involved. To our viewers, we would also like to inform you about our Operation Confidence's Positive Redirection Team, a group of male and female veterans who are mentors, having overcome similar challenges and situations, transitioning back into mainstream society. To be connected or to become a team member, please email us at info@operationconfidence.org. And we'd also like to inform our listeners about our Combat Boots and Lace Women Veterans Mentoring and Creative Arts Group. Zoom meetings will begin the first Saturday of the month. Let's put a target date of this summer. And to get involved, please email me at Martha, M-A-R-T-H-A, at operationconfidence.org. Take it away, Connie.
Thank you. And you know, we missed our sweetheart today. Not Brooke as well. Brooke is on assignment, but we missed our precious Taylor. She had to go on out of town, but she'll be back as well for next week. We want to thank everybody. Thank you so much, Ann. Thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you. Wake up. Kevin, look like you sleeping. Thank you so much for being on the show. And always, you know, Charles, you my guy. And we had some amazing guests. We want to thank our guests so much for coming on and giving such informative information. And to our board president, Jimmy, you know, Jimmy's a character, but he's very knowledgeable and he has a lot to offer the organization. So as always, we want to remind our listeners that our goal for this show is to raise awareness about Operation Confidence's mission, which is to provide stable housing with a wide range of supportive services. including job opportunities for our disabled veterans, as well as for those who have experienced homelessness. So please get involved with our grassroots efforts. To do so, email us at info@operationconfidence.org or go to our website and get involved by going to www.operationconfidence.org. And please don't forget to, when you go on our YouTube channel, we have a YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. By the way, we have 13,400 results so far. So we're doing pretty good. Did you know that, Charles and Marcus?
We know it now for sure.
We started to move right along. We may not have many on our Facebook page, but we move right along on YouTube.
So we like the Jeffersons now. We moving on up. See?
Yeah, we moving on up. So thank you so much. And we want to let everyone know we'll be back next Sunday from 3 to 3:30 or around about that time. Okay.
I'm gonna share our Rosie video and then our closing video. And,
yeah, please share the Rosie's video and close us on out.
Okay, dokie. And for whatever reason, my computer just does not want to get rid of the let's just see, maybe while I'm okay. We'll share that.
I am Buddy Canute, a former Rosie the Riveter. I riveted P-40 pursuit planes during World War II. We did our part back then. Now, can you step up and help the Rosies pull America together again? Please call 304-776-4743. That is 304-776-4743.
And then I'm gonna close us out. But I
Thanks, everybody.
Gotta give the.
Give you sign off. Okay.
Sign off, because last week we didn't get to do the sign off.
Okay, what were you saying, Kev? You muted.
You said goodbye.
Oh, you said
Thanks,
bye-bye.
goodbye. Say goodbye and happy birthday, Miss Bella.
Oh yeah, Miss Bella.
The party animal.
Party animal. Tell Miss Bella how much we love her. Give her a kiss and a hug for me.
She just stares at you.
Oh, she loves him. Oh,
Tito, give me some tissue.
She's so precious. You're supposed to be finding me another Miss Bella. Remember?
I can't find her. Very hard to find. She's one of a kind.
I know, huh? Okay, let's sign off.
All righty. Let me see. Is this it? Nope.
Why you don't have it ready?
I do it, for what? Just like you had your more, all of a sudden my computer wants to show the Roselle Brown story again. Okay. Let's see. All right, I think I'm there now. For whatever reason, today is okay. There we go. All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
For more information or to be a guest on our show, email info@operationconfidence.org.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.